Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Welcome into the PTA pregame show. Packers, Lions, Thanksgiving Day. It doesn't get any better than this. Appreciate you guys and gals hopping in here for a brief moment. I know everybody's got family at home and everybody's probably cooking right now. If you're like me, the sister-in-law's mad as hell because you just stole a couple deviled eggs out of the kitchen. So I was telling Tim before we went pregame, man, I was able to snatch a couple of them off the tray as they were complaining they didn't have enough. And tensions are pretty high in the Bailey kitchen right now, Tim. But I plead the fifth. I had nothing to do with it. I just ran upstairs as quick as possible, and they know I was going live. So they may actually kick down the door here in a second, Matt. So how you doing?
Have to pull an extra crate of eggs out of the fridge, man. You know, get it going over there.
You know how it is, man. I think we're going to another location, so we got to load all this stuff up. But we're expecting probably somewhere between 20, 25 people, something like that. Nice. So yeah, every deviled egg counts. And listen, early bird gets the worm, right? Early bird gets the worm. Now, the second mouse gets the cheese, but the early bird always gets the worm. So hopefully everybody's having an awesome Thanksgiving morning out there. I see everybody filing in. I'm so excited about this game, man. Everybody seems to be picking it to be a close one. And we're going to kind of dive into some of the NFL Pro data and give you guys kind of advanced metric, NFL next-gen stats approach to how the game looks. But everywhere I look, Tim, they're saying, hey, this is probably going to come down to a field goal is essentially what it looks like. Now, anything can happen. Both teams are banged up. All it takes is one or two turnovers bouncing the wrong way, and it could be a boat race either way. So regardless, though, man, there's nothing like football and Thanksgiving, that's for sure, man. We got Jerry in the house. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, Jerry. Appreciate you. So Turtles, happy Thanksgiving to you. We got Bates in here. Appreciate you swinging through, Bates. You are the man, dude. There's nothing better than food and football. Doug in the house. Thank you, sir. And Chuck Jagger's giving a little tip out there. Tim, you knew a little more about this than me. Chuck Jagger says Tubi TV for the win today. What's he talking about there?
That's right. Tubi TV users out there, they're streaming the game in 4K today on Tubi TV. So if you're not in the market, can't get it in your area, check out Tubi TV. That's awesome.
There you go. Always getting the hacks here, right? H.E. Soder says field goal. We are so screwed. Why you say that, sir? We're indoors today, man.
Dude, McManus in the dome. We got this, man. He's good from 60. Let's go.
McManus sounds healthy for the first time in a long time, too, which is exciting. And you say, where did you hear that, Clayton? They just cut Haversick. Believe me, if they were this little bit worried that McManus wasn't fully healthy, I think they would have kept Haversick or replaced Haversick with another kicker, I would imagine. To the best of my knowledge, that has not happened. But I-Rock in the house. Good to see you, buddy. We got Tony Holman in here. Let's go. And, of course, we've got our first FGB as the Lions fans file in here, sir. Let's keep it PG. I guess he did keep it PG 13.
Yeah, that's pretty PG, especially for someone from Detroit, right? That's pretty good.
Absolutely. Chuck Jagger says McManus and Eminem go to the same barber. All right, let's get into it, Tim. Let's get into the content. I wanted to kick things off right now. Listen, I know we've got a multitude of viewers on this particular program. We got people that I've had people reach out. They're in their 70s and they watch the show, which makes sense. Those type of people probably gravitate more toward me than the younger crowd, to be honest with you. I'm kind of an old soul in that regard. But we've also got younger folks as well. And one of the Thanksgiving Day traditions, anybody who plays Madden, you've probably seen the recent update of John Madden and the Thanksgiving Day stuff that they've kind of added into the game. John Madden and Pat Summerall, they go hand in hand with football on Thanksgiving. And I know there's a younger generation that maybe you just know it from the video game. You know Madden from the video game. The older generation know him as Coach Madden, right?
Yeah.
I kind of got to know Madden from – all right, he has just ended his coaching career and got into broadcasting, right? He was still fairly young in broadcasting when I was born, and I got to see him in his prime at what I thought he'd done even. But he's a Hall of Fame coach. He was a great football player before he got hurt. He was drafted by the Eagles, if I remember correctly. And then he stepped into that announcer role, right? That TV personality role, something that his agent had to beg him to do just to give it a shot. And thank God he did. I say all this because it's special. John Madden, Pat Summerall, every Thanksgiving. I hate that the younger generation doesn't get to experience that. But we got a quick video, or in this case, we're actually going to play an audio version of it because of obvious reasons. So I just want you guys to hear this, and you can go to my Twitter account. NFL Films actually tweeted it out. It's a must watch to go along with the sound. Hopefully the music does not trigger a copyright, but just listen to the buzz, and just Thanksgiving was awesome with Pat and John, man. Here we go.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, first of all, to all of you across the country. This is 21 years we've been sitting together and saying happy Thanksgiving to each other, and I'll say it again to you now.
Oh, no, look at the size of this turkey. Now, there is a turkey. We got some legs on there. I mean, here's a leg. Then we got 3 here. We got 3 here. You got the turkey on the outside. Then you stuff the turkey with a duck, and then you stuff the duck with a chicken. So it's turducken.
Yeah.
It can't be that heavy the way those guys are carrying. It looks like they're carrying an elephant. And now we have security. I can't believe that. Yeah, I was in a hotel and the Rolling Stones were there, and they didn't have as much security as that turkey has. I swear to you. No, not now. Save it.
Hey, that's early.
Cameraman.
No, the guy's eating a turkey leg. That's the one we got to give out to the MVP, and the cameraman ate it. Eric, you get the turkey leg, and Jerry, you get the whole turkey. You get the whole bird.
I knew you was saying the whole thing, John.
I want to talk to John Madden, Pat Summerall. That's what I want.
You got it.
Hey, yo, what's up top, fellas?
Yeah.
Huh?
You're up on top when you make catches
man,
like that.
Hey, y'all know I put on the show for y'all 2 old heads, man.
There's no place that I would rather be than right here with you at this time, and it doesn't get any better than this.
Oh, so awesome, man. Does that not bring back so many great memories? Yes. Like, seriously. John Madden, Pat Summerall, they were the soundtrack of my childhood. I'm just telling you, man. Elijah Gwynn, John Madden, and the turducken. It doesn't get any better, right? Chuck Jaggers, Miss Madden drawing on the screen. It's funny, too, that you say that, Chuck, because I remember people complaining at the time. I wish he'd quit drawing all over the damn screen. Let me watch the game, right? I was one of those people that got a little bit of John Madden fatigue at one point. But then the second he's gone, like everything in life, you look back and go, boy, I wish I'd enjoyed that. So we got Jacob joining us now. Jacob, what do you think about Pat Summerall and John Madden growing up? Was it not awesome? Because we grew up about the same time. You're a few years younger than me, right?
Yeah, no, it was probably one of the best moments that I can ever remember. Definitely. Kind of to your point, every single Thanksgiving since I've been alive, I'd usually do the deer hunt thing with my grandpa's cabin. Then we go to the grandma's house, and then typically you'd have the Packers playing some sort of football, usually, around that time, even if it was the Lions, the Cowboys, whatever it would be. And yeah, just having him on in the background, both him and Pat, it just felt complete. It kind of like completed the whole ambiance of the Thanksgiving and just the family being together, the friendships, laughing a lot and drinking too much and eating too much and listening to those guys. It absolutely kind of exemplifies what it means to be, in my opinion, an American, especially on this type of holiday where you give thanks for everything. And to your point too, Clayton, I didn't realize how much I love those dudes until it was too late and they're gone. You look back now and I hear that voice, and it literally just kind of gives me chills. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, it's so well said, Tim. Nothing like it, man. The great thing is you can go to YouTube and watch all those old games and listen to them call them, right?
Absolutely. John Madden was like the first teacher of football to me. Growing up watching those games, and you talk about one of the most legendary crews right there. Pat Summerall and John Madden. I don't know if it gets better than that. There might be a few out there that come close, but I don't know if it gets better than prime John Madden and Pat Summerall in the booth. And, the back and forth they had, the banter that they had. And, John Madden's love for football just came through in every single broadcast. You could just tell how much he loved this game and how much he loved the players of this game. And, everyone that's a part of football, John Madden's kind of the patron saint of football in America, and get a little choked up just thinking about him. Still miss him, One of the greatest ever to coach, ever to broadcast, and teaching a little skinny Wisconsin kid like me about football from a very early age. So thank you, John Madden, and rest in peace for sure.
Yeah, love it to wear the patches on this day for sure. Jacob, you got anything else there as we get into the comments here? Mitchell's mommy missed those days. Best announcers ever.
Yeah, no, I just think they were such a yin and yang, a Bert and Ernie, because we've talked about it before. Madden would go off on some crazy tangent, didn't really make sense sometimes, or just be so off the wall, and they'd cut back to Pat. That's right, John, and it's 3rd and 4, and it just would steer it back. It's kind of like our podcast when I say something stupid, and Clayton's like, "All right, moving on."
Get a little John Madden play-by-play of you stepping out of the office last night.
He not only rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
It's funny too because John Madden had the best description, or maybe it might have been Joe Buck who replaced. Joe Buck and Troy were they're the new thing, right? That Fox did for a long time, and now they're obviously at ESPN. But they kind of took over for John and Pat, and they said that John Madden was Walter Cronkite and John Wayne in the or not John Madden. It was Pat Summerall was Walter Cronkite and John Wayne in the same person. He had that deep John Wayne like voice, but he had the precision of like it's just unbelievable, man. Unbelievable what they did. They really hit gold. What's crazy too, a little backstory about that with Summerall, and then we'll get into the Packers Lions here. I think it was CBS that he originally worked for. They reached out to one of his roommates and was going to audition him or whatever, right, to come on. It was a former player or whatever. I think they were living in New York City, I believe, at the time, because he used to play. Many people don't know this, but Pat Summerall kicked, I think, the game-winning kick in the greatest game ever played for the Giants, okay? So they called the hotel looking for his buddy about an audition. Pat answered the phone, and the CBS executive said, "Hey, can you come down and audition too?" And that's how Pat Summerall got into broadcasting. So just thin threads for sure. We got Larry in the house. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to you, sir. All right, let's jump into the game here a little bit. Seth Ruder with the first super chat. Thank you so much, Seth. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, should we take more offensive risks with Detroit with the defense being elite? So he's talking about our defense being elite. Should we take more offensive risks? You guys know my answer to that. I'm the most boring fan on the face of the earth. I feel like I've seen a lot of people say that, Seth. You're definitely not the only one to kind of think in that regard. I feel like it counteracts the fact that your defense is so elite when you give the ball back to the other team. And again, when you're taking risks, you got to be prepared to give the ball back to the other team. The big thing that it goes back to in these quotes that have kind of been circulating here lately was they said that, I think it was Reggie White back in the day, told Brett Favre, hey, just keep throwing it, keep taking shots. We'll get the ball back for you. Again, we're talking about 1994, 1996, right? Whole different ball game than today. I feel like the most important statistic is obviously turnover margin. So I know where I stand there. Let's go around the horn with that question real quick from Seth. I think it is a great question. We'll start with you, Tim. Do you feel like you should take more offensive risks now that you've got a defense that's definitely top 5, possibly the best defense in the league?
I feel like you might be a little more prone to some calculated risks. You may want to go for that kill shot if the opportunity presents itself, because you have, the faith that you have in, this defense and the way that they've been playing at such a high level and really are kind of hitting their stride right now. So I don't know if that's going to be like a stressed part of the game plan for this team, but I could see, Tupac LaFleur and Jay Money out there saying, F it,
right,
scoot down there somewhere type of thing. But I don't know if you're going to do that throughout the game. But I do think you can be a little more aggressive and push the envelope. I'm okay with risk as long as they're calculated risks, set it up with the run game. Let's get a nasty play action boot and a shot play here and there. I love it. But I don't think you have to be overly aggressive. And, say what you want about Detroit being banged up. That's a team that can make you pay if you get a little too aggressive. So that's kind of my stance on it.
Yeah, Jacob, how do you feel about that, man?
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Tim said there. Being that this offensive line is a little banged up again and that the guard position, I think, would be a little suspect. I believe it'll be a backup center this time as well. And a couple guys that were kind of just maybe will play, but definitely aren't 100%, which most people aren't at this time of the season. But I could see us, trying to stick with mostly rushing 4 and then every kind of pepper in maybe just a little more heavy, some calculated off the edge blitz, some corner blitz, a little bit up the middle. But I kind of don't think if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of mentality. And I feel like this defense is absolutely humming right now, doing kind of that conservative. I hate saying conservative, but more the letting stuff underneath like the Halfley's been doing and just saying you aren't going to beat us over the top. And if you want to get over aggressive, then we can try to maybe go tit for tat in that aspect. But I kind of like what Tim said there. And I feel like if we come out and play our game, it's just, try to stop Micah Parsons, Gary, and then our big boy Wyatt in the middle. And I feel like that if you can stop those three guys, maybe then we put on the gas a little bit and try some crazy, more exotic stuff. But you got to stop those three first, and that's a big task.
Yeah. Nick in the chat here. And again, Seth, thank you so much for the super chat, but I think this is a great conversation. Thank you for bringing it up. Nick in the chat says, agreed, calculated risk, early 2-possession lead sets the defense free, game over. Hey, if you can guarantee me that's the result, sign me up, Nick. That would be absolutely awesome, especially on Turkey Day here, man. Jay Cole says there would be a few of those plays. And that's kind of how I see it too, Jay, is like not every play, 90% of Matt LaFleur's plays have a deep shot baked in. And that's what's so frustrating when people say he's not aggressive enough. He's not aggressive enough. If you watch the route combinations, there is a deep threat in almost every play. It could be a post. It could be a go. It could be a couple deep crossers. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to throw to those guys. So to me, it's always the defense is going to dictate where you go with the football. Now, if they come up, they load the box to try to slow down the run a little bit because we kind of got it going last week. If they approach it that way and Jordan Love sees he's got a one-on-one shot with Christian Watson, I'm okay with taking those shots. I'm perfectly fine with it. What I don't want to see happen is if they're in anything more than a cover one, like a middle field close, if they go cover 2 or a cover 6, try not to put the ball in harm's way. Let's let them make the mistakes. Let's kind of lean into them a little bit because like somebody said earlier in the chat as well, their defensive line, actually it's right here. Elijah Gwynn said a D-line is going to feast on the line's banged up off line for Thanksgiving. I hope you're right there. Again, they're banged up in the middle. Frank Ragnow's coming out of retirement. He will not be playing today. I don't think he's playing next week. So if you can start to collapse that pocket into Jared Goff's lap, I think you got yourself a chance to jump up to an early lead. You just got to protect the football, though. Think about it this way. Let me put it this way. Let's say the Packers get the ball first. All right. And then we decide, okay, we're going to be aggressive and take shots early. Well, God forbid, on the first drive, we throw an interception. They get the ball at their own 45-yard line. They take the ball right down and score, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. And now you've got to try to set yourself up knowing they're getting the ball in the second half. You're losing, and you're losing the turnover battle, right? That's where I get a little bit like, okay, let's stick with the openers, take what they give you. Let's go down and get points early. And I'm a defer guy. I want to be very clear. I think I'm in the minority amongst the coaches, maybe. It seems like there's more and more teams now that want to take the ball early and go down and score. I understand the mindset behind it, right, where it's you're gathering information. We talk about the first quarter gathering information. Well, that's why some coaches take the ball first because they want to gather that information on what the defense is going to do. So I don't know.
I like deferring. It's tough, though, right? You're on the road, Thanksgiving, big game. You want to put your offense out there, try and put points on the board, but the way our defense has been playing, man, I'd love to defer, kick that ball off, get a 3 and out, and here we go. And we can double dip, hopefully win the middle 8 and get that ball back in the third quarter to start the second half. I'm with you on that today.
Yeah. And Jacob Isoder says here, run the damn ball. I'm all about it, but we got to take into consideration too. Their run defense, I'm pretty sure, is a little bit better than what we obviously seen last week, or at least it's close to the same. I'll pull up our power rankings here. I won't put it on the screen, but I'll read the numbers. I'll have anything there that you guys want to see. But Jacob, what do you think about the running game just on the surface? Do you feel like we could get it going, or do you think this is going to be one of those games we maybe need to pass? Because I know we've talked about this a little bit already earlier in the week.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get the run established, then absolutely. I think that'll probably be dictated by the flow of the game and what's going on. We have to also remember that Josh Jacobs is coming off of being a little banged up. We're coming off a week where Mr. Wilson went in there and absolutely balled out. I don't feel like he's going to get, 28 or 32 carries or whatever it was. So, and that being said, if we do come out and run the ball, holy moly, the Packers fan base is going to lose their mind. We'll get into it, I'm sure, going through some injury stuff, but it did come out after everything, the dust settled, that, yeah, Jordan Love was playing injured. There was a game plan to try to limit that usage, and that's why we lean so heavily on the run. Things can change. It's only been 4 days, though, since that exact game plan was implemented. Now, does that mean probably because they were looking forward to the Lions and had to expect that they maybe wanted to try to open up the playbook a little more. That's probably a fair argument in my opinion, but I also think that it's going to dictate a lot on what the Lions side of the ball does, because we're going to have to stop their running game as well. Jahmyr Gibbs is an absolute freak, and he's running the ball better than almost anybody in the league. You know, him and Taylor right up there. So it's going to be an interesting game. I think that a lot of it depends on, honestly, the first couple drives and just how the pace of the game is going to go.
Yeah, and Tim, when you compare the run defense, Detroit is tied with Green Bay for the 5th best run defense in terms of yards per carry allowed. Okay. Last week, Minnesota was tied for 9th. Okay. Now, the difference in those run defenses, yards per carry allowed, 3.9 for Detroit, 4.0 for Minnesota. This is essentially the same level of run defense. That was a good run defense that we ran on last week. Okay. So, again, they watch the tape. They also know Jordan Love's banged up, and that's going to be a determining factor as well. So how do you feel about our run game here, man? Do you think I think you got to try to establish the run until they prove they've taken it away, and don't be afraid to play action on first down as well.
Yep. You read my mind, because play action with no run game is, I don't know, it's kind of foolish in my opinion, you know, and you know how Detroit plays defensively. You're going to see a lot of man looks. I think they're going to be aggressive, and you're going to see a lot of man coverage. It's going to be up to the Packers to not get away from the run. You know, maybe we're not getting those 10 and 13 and 15 yard, you know, plus explosive type runs. But if it's 3 and 5 and 4 and 2, and you're committed to the run, you're moving the sticks forward, you're going to be able to set up other things, you know, off of that. So I would agree. I don't know if you necessarily press into the run like we had to do last week. I mean, that was a concerted effort to run the damn ball all day long. And it did. It worked for us. But I'm not so sure that approach is going to work today. We do have to get aggressive on offense and let Jordan hum that tater, as we say, and take your shots when you can. But I think without establishing at least a run game, it's going to be really tough against Detroit's defense to pull off those looks.
Yeah, Adam in the chat says Packers 31, Lions 17. Packers gain momentum and start trending upwards towards the playoffs and establish dominance over the NFC North LFG. I hope you are right, Adam. That would be absolutely awesome. Doug in the chat here says, my soul needs to see Micah, Josh, and J-Love ripping into turkey legs today.
Oh, yeah.
Jacob, we got to see it, right? Micah's first turkey leg with J-Love and Josh Jacobs, man. And Josh Jacobs seems like he's good to go. I don't know if you heard or not, Jacob, but he had no game status designation, so he should be 100% from what I got.
Yep. Yeah, no, that sounds like a absolutely perfect picture. And you know what that could do is we finally need to update, you know, one of our drops where we have this now with Micah. We got the turkey leg from last year. We gone that whole thing. We got to update the new drop. That'd be perfect. Just a really quick, just touch on the running game stuff before we get too far ahead. I really love what Donovan Schilling said. We got a Mauler at guard now. So I believe he's talking about Belton. I wonder if that would dictate a little bit more if they do, you know, you guys obviously are more tape guys and probably had more time to look at it than I did. I'm not sure what you thought about him. Was he kind of more of a road grader? Was he actually setting a little bit of a different tone there?
He's definitely more of a road grader, in my opinion. However, I wasn't as big on his tape as other people. Hearing the post-game reaction and people immediately watched, they were like, man, Belton blocked his ass. You know, that was a big difference maker, this and that. I didn't personally see it that way. I don't think he played bad, Jacob. I will tell you this, though. I feel very comfortable kind of what Donovan's saying here. I feel like Belton is a much better run blocker than Jordan Morgan is, especially on the right side. You know, Jordan Morgan is a pass blocking left tackle. You had Anthony Belton was kind of a road grading left tackle in college. I feel like he's more built for it, and he's definitely a get off the bus guy, Tim. Anthony Belton looks like he is a Belton to ass kind of guy. He is huge. He is a mauler. He's physical. I just wasn't over the moon with the tape. Again, I didn't feel like he had as bad of a game as PFF said, but I didn't see like, holy cow, this guy looks like a Pro Bowl caliber right guard. I just didn't see that. So I think the running game, you know, taking an extra step, it's no surprise that you've got Darian Kennard playing Y70, extra tight end, right? Extra 300 pounds on the offensive line. And then you had Anthony Belton at right guard. No surprise that the running game did take off there, though, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. And Big Escalade is a work in progress, right? You know, first year pro. I think he's going to get better with, you know, more snaps and more experience. You know, like you say, you know, tell me what a guy's doing right, not what he's doing wrong. I think, you know, we're kind of dissecting tape. It's kind of see the things that he missed on, and the couple good plays he did have are kind of overshadowed. But, he is a beast of a man. And if he gets his NFL legs under him and proves to be a reliable offensive lineman in this league, we've got ourselves a weapon on the right side there with Anthony Belton. So I'm looking forward to seeing him get more reps.
Yeah, and this right here, Doug, you guys taught me how vulnerable man defense is when you run. Let's just go to the coverage chart here real quick and see how much man coverage they're running. They are being obviously the Lions. So they are playing the majority of the time, not the majority of the time, the defense that they run the most in terms of coverage is cover one man at 30%. Okay. The second most is cover three zone. So what that tells you is 30% cover one man, 27% cover three zone. That means 57% of the time they're in middle field close. Therefore, they don't have two safeties on the shelf. They have extra guys in the block, in the box. You guys hear us say robber, right? That's when a safety comes down in man coverage and plays the underneath zone. So extra guy in the box. If you hear us say cover three buzz, the safety is buzzing down in the box. If you hear us say on the Packers side, 33 joker, or 33, what is it we say? Robber. Let's say we say 33 robber, or we'll say 29 spur. Spur is the term I use for a pre-snap alignment of a safety being kind of in or around the box. You're going to see a lot of that with the Lions today, but that 30% cover one man, if you catch them with that extra guy in the box and you run a little outside, that I think is the recipe to get the boot action going as well. Again, everything's going to come down to how healthy is Jordan Love, how effective he can be even off the play action. So that's the only thing that concerns me about this game. If Jordan Love was 100% healthy, I would feel really good about the Packers' chances. But the fact that we seen Jordan Love limited last week with that left shoulder, having a handoff with his right hand, that's a concern for me. So, and listen, the Lions know he's hurt. They're going to be looking to take shots at that shoulder all day long. So, Turk McGirt with the super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. Says Javon Bullard signed card is sick. Happy Turkey Day. Go Pack Go. 27-8 Packers. So obviously Turk getting the Javon Bullard signed card in the mail. Appreciate the support. Everybody who was our winners last month, thank y'all so much. We'll get some more cranked out this month as well. But really, really appreciate the kind words. 27-8 would be awesome. Will we finally get some respect, Jacob, if this team goes out? I know last week we won 23-6 against another defense that was supposed to be one of the better defenses in the league. B-Flow's always getting praised. If we go out and win by 3 scores in this one, surely to God, these negative fans will calm down a bit.
Yeah, I agree. What better way to throw some cold water than beating teams back to back NFC North, which I think is still probably one of the most competitive divisions, if not the most competitive in the league right now. But I do think that it'd be very impressive, and then to actually have the fact that you would beat the Lions 2 times in a row. I don't care if it happened in week 1, whatever the case may be. We will still have that. Because lately, I'll be honest, man, the Lions fans have gotten cocky. They think that they've taken the torch from us as far as being the kings of the North, and that's just not the case.
Listening anyway.
Absolutely, and it'd be nice just to kind of pat them on the head and say, "Sit down, little boy. We got this still going. All right." I'm excited to see that. There you go, built to ass.
Know what I'm saying?
Donovan Schilling in the chat. Also, happy Thanksgiving, fam. Thankful for my family, this show, and the family we've created here. Much love to you all. Happy Thanksgiving, Donovan. We appreciate you, buddy. Let's go. Professor Cakes here. I'm freezing up again. Hopefully you guys can hear me.
No, you're good.
All right, we good? Okay. There's a little bit of a delay on my end here. StreamYard's been acting up here lately. Come on, guys. Get it together. Professor Cakes says, doesn't John Madden have the best or second best winning percentage all time as a head coach? He's definitely top 3. I think it was second best. Was it not, Tim? I know him and Vince Lombardi are in the top 3, which is really cool because John Madden's idol was Vince Lombardi. Many people don't know this. He went to a coaching clinic with him, and what he said he did was he took everything he liked about Lombardi's style. He actually ran a sweep left play. That was the Lombardi sweep because he had an all-pro left tackle or a Hall of Fame left tackle, Hall of Fame left guard, and a Hall of Fame center. So he would run the sweep to the left. He took that from Lombardi, and then he took the air attack passing game from Air Coryell and things that he learned from that early Raiders coaching staff that he was a part of as well. So he would drop those bombs that Air Coryell would drop, but then he would run the Packers sweep to the left because he had that awesome dominant left side there. It's pretty cool to see him up there with Lombardi as idol for sure.
Yeah, I think they are somewhere in that top 5 category. We got
Bates right here giving us the Bates stuff that he does. He's Madden says number 2, Lombardi number 3.
Makes a lot of sense. And I think, you think of Vince Lombardi and you think of John Madden, you think of, great X's and O's guys, right? Great teachers and schemers, but also two coaches that knew how to connect and get the most out of their players.
Yes.
And players that would, lay down in front of a train for their head coach and do anything for him. That's something that I think John Madden probably picked up from being a Vince Lombardi fan. It's one thing to know the plays and know your scheme and your X's and O's, but can you get that out of your players? Can you get those guys, to want to play for you? And I think that's something that both Vince Lombardi and John Madden kind of wrote the book on in this league.
That's a great point, Tim. Clayton, isn't that the same kind of story that said he went to a camp or a seminar and then they focused on just one a sweep play for 5 hours, and John Madden left being like, I thought I knew so much about football, and after studying with him, I know nothing, kind of thing.
Yeah. So if you guys watch, I think it was A Football Life, he tells that story, and he says, if you guys don't know what A Football Life is, it's a docuseries, documentary, I guess you could say, a series of documentaries
right here.
That. Yeah, there you go. Madden had the story, went to Lombardi's lecture. Yeah, so on his A Football Life on NFL Network, right? NFL Films put together that episode. He basically said, I heard Lombardi was going to be teaching close where I was at, so I went up there and I sat. He said, and I'm sitting in the back row, right? He said, like I'm at church or something, like I got all the answers. I'm sitting back there in the back row. Here's Vince Lombardi, the greatest coach of all time in his eyes, and I'm in the back with my arms crossed. He said he taught on one play for 8 hours. 8 hours. He said, I couldn't speak on the entire game for 8 hours. And here this guy all the details, the intricacy of every little aspect of that one play. And he said, I realized, I don't know, I think he said a bad word. I'm a phony. I'm a fake. And that really kind of rattled his cage a little bit. Yeah. So Lombardi had a lot of influence over Madden. And it's crazy too, because Madden's first Super Bowl he ever coached in, right? He was an assistant. I think he was the linebacker coach, if I remember correctly. And he said, I remember looking across the sideline and seeing Lombardi on the other sideline. I remember thinking, that's Vince Lombardi. I'm coaching against Vince Lombardi. Like, he just finally made it, One of the younger coaches too. Many people don't know that. John Madden, I think, was at the time the youngest coach to ever win a Super Bowl, I believe. So obviously he got drafted by Philadelphia and he hurt his knee. But before he hurt his knee, he remembered sneaking into – he was an offensive lineman, surprise, right? His big ass. He would sneak into the film session where I think it was Norm Van Brocklin was the quarterback at the time. And he would be in there watching tape, and he said, I snuck in and I'd be in the back. And then finally Norm Van Brocklin, I think they called him the Angry Dutchman or something like that. He said he looked back and noticed me, and he called me Red is what he said. He said, Red, come up here and sit. And he said, I would come up there and sit with him, and he would explain to me what he was looking for. So if he said, I got firsthand training and knowledge from one of the great quarterbacks of all time, right? And then, of course, when he got his chance to be the head coach, Al Davis had a coaching void because their head coach went somewhere else. And he said, he told all the coaches on staff, if you guys would be interested in being the head coach, come see me. And John Madden went to Al Davis and said, listen, I know I'm young. And people say, well, he's too young to be a head coach. I don't think age has got a damn thing to do with winning ball games. Al Davis loved his speech, gave him the job, and the rest is history, man. So him and Al Davis were – I know people look at Al Davis like he was an old kook there at the end of his career or life, I guess you could say, owning the Raiders. But he was a pioneer. He was the commissioner of the AFL, if I remember correctly. He was an owner. He was a former coach. He done it all.
And again, one of the greatest quotes in NFL history, right? Just win, baby.
Win, baby. Yeah, absolutely. And John Madden, too, one of his famous quotes, too, this is kind of the Raider way, and I'll probably butcher it, but he said, I've only got 2 rules, right? It's, I know what was the first one? He said, I can't remember the first one. The second one was, you play like hell when I tell you to, right? And he didn't create like all these crazy rules of like, dress code. He said, I never understood the dress code. Whether you wear a tie or not, that's never won a ball game, right? He let the guys be who they were. And boy, did you ever get that with those Raiders team? My gosh. Man.
Yeah, right. The Raiders.
And he said he got blamed too. They got blamed for playing dirty and watering down the field one time because the irrigation system wasn't good where they played there at their stadium. And he said that the other team was accusing him of it, right? And he said, they were accusing Al Davis of doing it. And he said, I finally got tired of being accused of stuff, so I just started to embrace it. He said, so I would literally go over to the coaches before the game. And this one particular time, he said, I told him, yeah, man, listen, we left yesterday after practice, and the irrigation guy, he left the water on all damn night. I'm sorry, man. I don't know what happened. It wasn't even true, right? But he would get in their heads, and he said the other owner would go. He said, I could get away with anything. The other owner, the other coach would say, I know it's not you, John. It's that damn Al Davis. He's like, Al got blamed for everything that we did. So anyway, just so many stories around John Madden. Dude. He was awesome. So let's see here. Doug in the chat says, pundits said they would take more risk early on, talking about the Packers, but I agree with Clayton. Tim is spot on with risk. There's a time and place, but there's also a down and distance. Amen to that. Amen to that. So
Sure.
Kyle Landretti in the chat. Do you think the defense will allow under 20 points? That's a great question. Think about who do they have on this team, guys? Who's healthy? What's the over-under? I'm going to look real quick. The over-under on this game, according to NFL Pro, is 48.5 points. Yeah. Somebody going to score 20, right?
Yeah.
Is it going to be the Packers or is it going to be the Lions? Now, our scoring defense, when you look at our scoring defense, I'm trying to remember where we rank exactly. I'll pull it off to the side here. I think we're first, or not first. No, we're first in passing defense. Scoring defense, Green Bay is fourth in the league at 0.301 points per play. Detroit is actually 12th in scoring defense. So if one of these two teams, according to the over-under, is going to crack 20 points, at least one of them, right? Can the defense keep them under 20? Based off that 48 points, I'm going to say no, Kyle. But like Tim and Jacob pointed out in the past, 27 points is that number we need to get to win the ball game, right?
Magic number.
And I think if you hold Detroit under 20, if you manage to do that, you hold them to 17. Yeah. Hell, if you hold them at 20, you should probably win this ball game. So it's going to be a close one.
Tim, we've got some breaking news.
Breaking news.
You have the inactives listed. Inactives. You want me to go through them? Or?
Yes, let's do it, man. You kidding me? I can pull it up on the screen, too. You go ahead and start reading them.
Packers inactives for the game today against the Detroit Lions. Matthew Golden, Quay Walker, Nate Hobbs, Donovan Jennings, Savion Williams, Lucas Van Ness, Carl Brooks. However, we do get our boy K9 Nixon is going to be active for today's game.
Got it. So they probably looked at McDuffie's performance last week and said, all right, let's don't rush Quay back. We're good here, right? And I know many people said Kamal hadn't had a good game. I don't think he had a bad game. Don't get me wrong. But they probably, all right, look, let's get Key back in the fold. Let's let Quay rest up another day. The thing that catches my attention here, Tim, is Savion Williams and Matthew Golden being out because Jaden Reed's out as well, right? He hasn't been activated yet. So you're down 3 receivers. Get ready for some Y70 sets. Kennard's going to be out there, and we're going to look to run a damn rock, I believe, man.
I agree. And Romy Rome needs to step up today. Tay Wicks and Scoot. Those are your big targets here in the receiver room. Wondering how who's going to be back there returning kicks for us today with no Savion Williams.
Tim, did you not see some of that news? Did you see?
Well, that's right. We've got
Will Shepherd,
Will Shepherd will be returning.
You're not.
I forgot about that. That's my guy.
You guys were big on him. What? Real big on him. I remember
Tim, that was. I'll say Tim definitely was. We saw him in preseason games, and he just looked like the moment was not too big for him. He's a physical guy. I think he's like 6'3", 205, something like that.
Up returner too, right?
Yeah. So I'm excited. I thought Tim would have been wearing the jersey already, but
I'm waiting for him to send me one. You know,
there you go.
He said he was going to hook me up.
Absolutely. So there you go. So Will Shepherd will be in the lineup. Think of our receivers for a second. And I don't have PFF pulled up at the moment, but Christian Watson, good to go. Romeo Doubs, good to go. Dontavion Wicks, good to go. Who else do we got here, guys? Does it go straight Malik Heath next, right?
Malik Heath, and then probably Will Shepherd.
There's got to be somebody I'm missing,
well,
right?
Bo, right? We'll pepper in Bo here and there.
Yep. I would say you're right. Let me just pull PFF up off the side just to get a quick glance here. I don't want to leave anybody out, and we'll go straight to our wide receiver room. But
the chat's pretty stoked, like Tim is right now, about Will Shepherd coming in there. Kyle Andretti says Will Shepherd's going to return one to the house today.
Ooh, let's go
back on the practice squad next week.
Got it.
Hey, if that's what it does, then that's what it does, man. Let's go.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what we're talking about, guys. We're talking about Christian Watson, 82.3, Romeo Doubs, 68.6, Dontavion Wicks, 66.0, Malik Heath, 63.4, Bo Melton, 61.7, and now Will Shepherd. So, man, it's going to be exciting. Again, we talked about how banged up the lines are. We're banged up too. this thing, I think it's gonna be a nail biter, man. I do. You know, last time we played in Detroit, we boat raced them a little bit, right? Fourth quarter, we were just kind of leaning on them a little bit, and they came back a touch. We just kind of rolled the clock on out. I think today's going to be a little bit different because they're playing for their football lives too. Their playoff hopes, they're dwindling quick if they lose this game. Their back's really going to be against the wall. Green Bay loses this game. I don't think their backs are against the wall, but you can really only afford to lose one more game the rest of the season. And preseason, I had this picked as a loss. I really did. So I'm a little bit concerned, but at the same time, if the Packers were to drop this game, okay, we can afford to lose 2 more. Here's the remaining schedule for the rest of the NFC North. Obviously, the Bears tomorrow will be playing the Eagles on the Black Friday game. We will be doing a live watch party for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. I think it kicks off at like 3:30. So we'll be kind of hanging out in here, eating food and watching that ball game. So that's going to be really, really exciting. Make sure you guys hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live for that. And, so the rest of that schedule there, right? Bears at the Eagles tomorrow. We've got the Lions this week, right? Keeps popping down there. I think StreamYard's doing that thing again to us, Tim. Anytime we click anything, it'll pull it off. So, and then obviously the Lions and the Packers play. Then next week, the Bears at Lambeau, right? And then, of course, you've got the Lions hosting the Dallas Cowboys, who don't look now. Cowboys might be getting hot all of a sudden, boys. Might be getting hot. And then, of course, the following week, the Bears versus the Browns. Then you've got the Packers at the Broncos, the Lions at the Rams. That Lions at the Rams. I'm telling you, man, the Lions have got a tough go here. If they don't win today against Green Bay and their backs are against the wall, they got to face a much hotter Dallas Cowboys team. They got to face what I think is the best team in the league on the road at the LA Rams. Then they got Aaron Rodgers coming back with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sure he'll be good to go by then. They should be able to beat Minnesota, no problem. And then they go on the road to Chicago, who's we got to tip our cap, man. They're playing pretty good football. They're figuring out a way to win these close games. Really good offense, top 10 offense for the Bears, essentially. Really bad defense. So I don't know. When you look at the remainder of the schedule, guys, how do y'all see that? Because that's going to get interesting quick.
It starts today, man. It starts today. Let's get a clean sweep here on these 3 divisionals, right? You know, we took care of the Vikings. We got to get a dub in Motown today, and then take care of business at home against the Bears. And I think that puts us in a pretty good spot down the stretch because, you know, you're right. Going to Denver, that's going to be a hell of a ball game. It's going to be a tough task. It's a tough place to play. And then, you can't count teams like the Ravens out either. You know, you look at that. We've got that game coming up, I believe, week 16 or 17, week 17 against Baltimore. That's another one you can't really take for granted. Teams are not their records, so you never know what you're going to get. But I do think, between the remaining schedules, I think, the Pack and the Lions probably have the tougher task. Although the Bears are getting a couple of legit opponents coming up, being the Packers and the Eagles specifically. And you never know. Hopefully Shadir and the boys in Cleveland can give them a spanking too. We'll take it.
Yeah, you never know when a team will catch fire like that when you got a new quarterback. I know he played well, and people immediately downplayed it like, oh, he was playing against a bad defense. But nonetheless, man, I don't even know who they were playing against. I can't remember at the moment. But you never know, man. That might be the spark they needed. Not to necessarily go on a championship run this year or next year, but to kind of get the foundation in place. Like, all right, we've got the guy of the future if they think he is. I'm not saying that. Jerry with the super chat. Thank you so much, Miss Jerry. She says, I'm thankful for Mandy. Amen to that. We appreciate you for sharing your hubby, who became our very own football expert. Don't be humble, Clay, when you are an expert. XXOO. So every time I see those, I think little hug, little kiss from what was it? Nacho Libre, right? So, thank you for the kind words, Jerry. I really appreciate that. And, yeah, you know how I feel. I'm no expert. We're all learning together here, and I screw things up every freaking week. But I do appreciate the kind words, and I know I'll let Mandy know as well. Mandy is the true MVP, no doubt about it, man. She was up late last night cooking, boy. She was hooking it up too. Every time I walk in the kitchen, she goes, "Get your ass out of here." I'm waiting for the Bumpus Hounds to come in and give me a little bit of a diversion so I can grab something. Right? But Jerry, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We've got the Lions inactives here as well. If y'all want to hit those real quick, go ahead and hit.
Kyle's just asking, what are the Lions inactives? Let's go.
We got it right here. Miles Frazier, offensive lineman, out. Graham Glasgow, out, which we knew that. Kirby Joseph, we knew that. Safety, out. Tyler Lacey, defensive lineman, out. Khalif Raymond, wide receiver, out. Mekhi Wingo, or Makai Wingo, however you say it, defensive lineman, out. And then Brock Wright, tight end, is out. So they are really slim at tight end. Jacob, me and Tim already talked about this. I'm going to get your take. They're slim at tight end. Their interior offensive line, they're down to their third choice at center, if I understood correctly. Now, will that be their right guard kicking over? Who was it again, Tim? Their right guard? I can never remember his name. We talked about
Ratledge.
Tate Ratledge. Maybe Tate Ratledge will kick in the center. I don't know. But we did a little check on that last night, and Graham Glasgow has been taking all the snaps for center. So they are without their second best center on the team, I guess you could say, man.
Great point from Doug real quick. Terrion Arnold is active. I know that was a question mark we were looking at in the secondary last night.
I'm kind of happy about that too, Tim, because I think he's really overrated, man. I do.
Yep.
And you know what I always think about? You guys remember the two best corners in that draft? Tim, Jacob. It was Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry, right?
Yep.
And they were teammates at Bama. Now, I remember specifically Michael Lombardi saying, I don't know about that tandem. Now, he's good friends with Nick Saban, him and Bill Belichick, Nick Saban. And here's what he said. There's a reason that Nick didn't play more man coverage this year at Bama. What's that tell you? Because those two corners, he didn't feel like were up to snuff for what Nick actually wanted to do, a little bit more man coverage as opposed to, his quarters coverage, box and triangle, all that good stuff. So I don't know. I just haven't really seen it from Terrion Arnold. So I think that's a good thing that he's playing, Tim, to be honest with you. But
yeah, have fun dealing with Christian Watson out there on the boundary. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
He's very grabby too, right, Jacob? Like some of the folks at the club, and he gets a little grabby out there.
And that happens sometimes. You just got to put their little butt outside for a minute, But I think that's a good point. I think that what's more interesting that a lot of people may not be highlighting is Brock Wright. That tight end room for them is going to be very depleted. I don't even know who number 3 is for them, but and then obviously that offensive line. So the type of game plan that they would probably want to do, whether they try to get Gibbs, established in the run, or if they even try to get a little dump off pass situation there. I mean, obviously without Laporta, they've struggled. Now Brock Wright, who I think is a pretty damn good tight end in this league, they're not having him. Khalif Raymond's, kind of whatever, but he's a serviceable wide receiver. And Kirby Joseph, because it couldn't happen to such a nice guy, the guy that's never doing cheap shots, never taking anybody's knees out. So I'm so sorry we're not going to get to see him in action today. I'm bummed.
And it's funny too, because we never root for injury. We're the first. I remember when they talked about Sam Laporta having back surgery live on the show, me and Tim were like, man, that sucks. Like, he's a good football player. You hate to see that. Kirby Joseph is one of the dirtiest players in the league. That's one you won't hear me say, yeah, I hate that for Kirby. No, you listen, you reap what you sow, right? And you go out there and you try to end people's careers by diving at their knees while their legs locked in the turf. You've seen it, the famous clip of Matt Stafford. Remember Matt Stafford going to him and going, yeah, you're dirty AF. It's all over the tape because he tore, I think, Higbee's knee up that year, right? He tried to do it to Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft did the Shawn Michaels flip back up like it wasn't nothing, right?
That's right.
So,
speaking of dirtbag watch, don't hold your breath for getting those calls. We got old Reno 911 himself, Ronnie Torbert.
Unbelievable. This guy right here.
Oh, we're going to give him some
stand up. What a dirtbag.
He's such a dirtbag.
I'll tell you who ain't a dirtbag, though. That's QB1. He has arrived.
Jay Money, the dime thrower. Let's go.
Jay Money going, is that flannel, Jacob? Is that what you call it? I never get – what's flannel and plaid? What's the difference between those two?
That's a flannel. That's a man flannel. A man.
All right. And I love he's got the Christian cross out there for everybody.
Hey, your left shoulder's fine. He's carrying the Gucci duffel bag in the left hand, so
he's good to
go. He said, I'm rich and I'm down to earth with the flannel.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's now, I believe 2-0 in the Thanksgiving Day games. He seems to be really showing out. Like, the game's not too much for him. Toyotathon got a little rough start last week, but I think that was kind of, as we talked about earlier, that was a little more intended just to try to get him revved up for this game. I believe, too, his touchdown to interception ratio in that time is 5 TDs, 0 interceptions. As long as Mr. J Love, takes care of the football today, I feel like that we are in a good position with things going in, even though we're in the dirty Motown.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. So, and also Pro Bowl voting has started, guys. Make sure you go vote for all of our favorite Packers. That's obviously what they're saying here. 1772 Big Boom. Vote now. You get the links and all that good stuff. Make sure that you go retweet. Make sure all the Packer fans see that the Pro Bowl voting is underway. And let's get Jordan Love in the Pro Bowl for sure. So,
Dave in the chat, he just flannel's a material, plaid is a pattern.
yeah, I knew there was something. I always get, again, I'm an ignorant redneck over here. You think I would know the difference between plaid and flannel, right? It's kind of what we wear at the weddings and things like that down here in the South. So, but I knew there was something to it. So thank you for that, Dave. Always keeping us in check here. Steve in the chat, interesting comment. He says, "Stop Gibbs, cold and win." Tim, that's got to be the name of the game today, right, man? You're going to have to stop that running attack because did Gibbs go off, albeit against the Giants, but he went off last week, man.
Yeah, that is a dude that is that's not an easy task, extremely difficult task. But the fact that their O-line's banged up gives us a pretty good chance at making that happen. You just got to be, gap sound and maintain your edges. Don't get yourself washed out on these plays. And make sure you're wrapping up because Gibbs is a tough guy to bring down too when he's got his motor running. And then, don't forget about Montgomery too. They've got a kind of a 1-2 punch, just like we do. We got E. Wilson and Josh Jacobs. They got two really good backs, but Jahmyr Gibbs is also, in my opinion, is probably going to be a target in the passing game, especially with them, being down, tight ends in this offense. So all hands on deck against Jahmyr Gibbs out there.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask Clayton a question about that, being that they're off their best at the moment receiving tight end with Brock Wright and Khalif Raymond. Do you think, even though they're banged up at the offensive line, that they may try to dive into the passing game a little more with more spread offense, maybe more wide receivers? I know that Ezek Tesla, who I loved coming out, he was on the injury list, but it looks like he's going to be a go. Do you think they start maybe trying to go a little more, kind of spread us out a little bit and then try to pepper in the run here and there? Or do you think they stick more with just trying to pound the rock early?
I think there's more of a chance of that to happen this week than it was last week because, Detroit has the second best running offense in terms of yards per carry, right, at 5.1. But when you look at the rushing defense, the Packers' rushing defense, as we had said before, is tied for fifth best, both Detroit and Green Bay's run defense. So it kind of counters, right? So now you got to ask yourself, okay, do we throw the ball on Green Bay? Seeing that their run defense is going to kind of counteract our boy Jahmyr Gibbs. The problem with that is passing defense-wise, the Packers have the best passing defense in the league at only 5.4 yards per pass attempt allowed. So when you dig into that, I imagine they're going to try to force the run. I think it's going to be one of those games where Tim, you were at this game. You remember the rain game at Lambeau where Detroit was just like, you know what? We're going to let them make the mistakes. And Green Bay did. They just kind of played the long game. Let's run the ball. And it was rainy. I get it. This is going to be indoors. Run the rock, punt. Run the rock, punt. Packers got caught passing a little too much through, I think, a pick six to Kirby Joseph, if I remember correctly. Kirby not being in this game is going to be huge. So you got to throw some of these numbers out the window a bit. But with that being said, Jacob, if I'm going to answer your question as if I was the Lions OC, I would look at the analytics. I look at these numbers and go, Packers are better at pass defense than run defense, although their run defense nothing to shake a stick at. Their turnover margin is kind of middle of the pack, right? So I'm going to make them be the aggressor, and I'm just going to kind of play the easy game, take what they give us, check it down, which we know Jared Goff is check down Charlie, right? I think he's like 18th or 20th in terms of air yards per attempt. So that's how I would approach it. You asked the question, though, Jacob. How do you see it, man? What would you do?
No, I mean, I kind of agree with that. I just, I kind of like what David Mitchell is saying here. I want to see Hopper shadowing Gibbs when he leaks out on a pass. The man can do it. So kind of to your last point, if he tries to expose us with that check down Charlie type of mentality with kind of those little short passes, the leak outs and that kind of stuff, then I would like to see a guy that maybe can run with them. And I've been pretty impressed with Hopper. I don't know what you think about what you saw from him on tape, but what a blessing, because if you guys remember going into the preseason and stuff, I was very worried about our linebacker depth, and wow, how refreshing has it been to see a guy like Isaiah McDuffie, Hopper, and just absolutely, Cooper's been pretty steady Eddie, nothing really splashing there, but I think that that's been a strong suit of our defense and not a hindrance, which, is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yep. When you look at the rate, I guess the best place to start here, Jacob, is to see what their tendencies are, right? And we used to do this in the game plan, but man, it's gotten so time consuming putting the game plan every week together every week. It's been kind of tough. They play 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver sets, 55% of the snaps. So Tim, they're in 12 personnel, 27% of the snaps, but their EPA out of 12 is ranked 3rd. So that's where they're doing their damage. Their EPA per pass out of 12 personnel, which is 1 running back, 2 tight ends, is a positive 0.62. That ranks 3rd best.
Do they even have 2 tight ends right now, though?
That's the question, right? So now you got to say, okay, now keep in mind, we thought the same thing with the Packers. I said, all right, Tucker Kraft's out for the season. Let's press into 11. What did we do? We went and grabbed somebody off the freaking waiver wire, and Josh Wiley or whatever, and all of a sudden he's lead blocking. They're putting him in 2 back sets and all that. So I understand exactly what you're saying. On the surface, that's kind of what it feels like. But the reality is, though, in terms of the rate in which they run those usage-wise, I was trying to find and see where they're ranked there, and it's not showing. But again, 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver sets, 55% of the time. They're in 12 personnel, 27% of the time. They're in 13 personnel, 6% of the time. And then 21 personnel, 3% of the time. So they will come out with a 2-back set from time to time. So, yeah, going to be interesting, man. And again, that's how they kind of rank in terms of usage and all that stuff. The league average for usage, to give you an example, 11 personnel across the leagues use 57% of the time. Detroit's only using it 55% of the time. 12 personnel is being used across the league at an average clip of 23% of the time, and the Lions are using it 27% of the time, right? So, and also when people are in 12 personnel league-wide, the league average in EPA is negative 0.01. Keep in mind, Detroit's EPA is a positive 0.62. So now they don't run the ball effectively out of 12. Their EPA per rush is minus 0.07, but they run the ball pretty effectively out of 11 personnel with a positive 0.09. It doesn't mean the tendency suggests they're going to run more out of 11. It just means they're more effective running out of 11 as opposed to 12. So passing out of 12 has been more effective for the Lions. Running out of 11 has been more effective for the Lions. That's all I think.
Keep an eye on. That makes sense. That's something to keep an eye on, especially our backers and then, our secondary, because they're going to be looking for Amon-Ra, St. Brown out there. And, he's gashed us before. You have to be conscious of him out there, especially if they're going to check down Charlie and run the ball down the field. I would not put it past Dan Campbell and those guys to, bust out the old flea flicker or some funny business to hit a shot place. So, head on a swivel out there, defense.
In the chat, they're saying, Tim, but they don't even know who they're playing at tight end. And somebody else asked, David Mitchell says here, but who are their tight ends now? According to the Prize Picks over under, the starting tight end is going to be a man named Anthony Fersker, who I've actually seen.
Who? I knew it was coming. I knew it was.
The backup, or number 2 tight end, is going to be a gentleman we all know, we all love, Ross Dwelly.
Who?
Everybody knows Ross.
Who are these guys? Unbelievable.
So
let's do this. Let's pull up their PFF grades. Not that it'll help if all these guys are new, right? If they were working at Costco last week, this ain't going to tell us anything. But here is their defense or their tight end room according to PFF grades. Obviously, Sam Laporte is out. So is that the guy you were talking about? Zylstra?
Fersker.
Right?
Anthony
Fersker. Fersker is the protected. He's got a 56.7 pass blocking grade's good. Looks like he hasn't had any run blocking grade yet, so I don't know what that means. And then they got that Shane Zylstra, if he's healthy, 58.1. Brock Wright's out, right? And Ross Dwelly. Sound like a wrestler back home in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. You know what I mean? Ross Dwelly weighing in at 265 pounds, soaking wet with 2 big sand rocks in his back pocket. Right. Unbelievable. So maybe they do press into 11. Right. Maybe they go.
You never know, though. But to your point, right? We didn't do that. We, a good scheme and a good coach, you're going to put your players out there and expect them to run your offense, right? And that's kind of what Matt's done since we lost Tuck Norris. And I wouldn't put it past Dan Campbell to have that same attitude with his team, regardless of personnel. So maybe they don't switch it up too much.
Right. Maybe so. Donovan Schilling asking the important question. You gents doing a post-game show. We are. Here's the plan. I've got the mini NASA laptop ready to go. It's loaded up, okay? I'm embarrassed to say how much we paid for that, but it's ready to go. I'm going to be traveling about an hour. As soon as we end the stream, I'm hopping in the car, driving an hour, trying to get settled in for the game to watch it. And then immediately following the game, my plan is to broadcast from my nephew's room, and he's a Vikings fan.
Oh,
So you're going to see Vikings gear all over the wall. It's going to be absolutely
Oh,
awesome.
no.
It's going to be hilarious knowing that Mandy has purchased all that Vikings gear with my money.
How dare you?
90% of the money come from. Just want to say. So it'll be a fun little change of pace. You guys will be seeing a lot of purple in that, but hopefully the internet will hold up down there. They live back in the sticks a little bit. Beautiful down there on the river in Rogersville, Tennessee. So hopefully everything will work. But we will be bringing you a post game show if you guys are available. Or you are available for the post game show.
For sure.
I'm going. Yep.
All right, cool. So you guys may have to lead the charge. If I get in there and it goes, you guys will just run with it. All right. You know what I mean? So everything's already set up. Yeah, disown that nephew. Kai, I would, but man, I'm telling you, he's the best kid. He is. I say he's kid. He's a grown ass man now, but
he's a grown ass man now. Yeah.
There you go. He's a Vikings fan because he dealt with some childhood illness, and when he and being a Vikings fan makes you sick. I'm just kidding. He had to go to a children's hospital in Minneapolis. So as he was at the children's hospital for a significant amount of time, the Viking players would come over and visit those kids. So from Jump Street, he's a Vikings fan. And like I said, he's a good fan too. He's knowledgeable. He's a hell of a football player, wide receiver / tight end. And he just graduated last year, but he's a good kid. It's hard for me. Sometimes when I really dig in on Vikings fans on Twitter, I got to remember Sammy's on here. He's going to be watching. So I got to clean it up a little bit because he's one of the better fans, which you guys know how it is. Social media, you get the worst fans. So
for sure.
Go ahead, Jake.
I love Donovan Schilling's comment here. He says, Ragnow is the best example of dudes doing everything in their power to avoid the in-laws for the holidays. He just said, I'll strap back on the helmet. Screw it. I got to go. Sorry.
Love it. All right. So I think that's going to do it, guys. We wanted to go live a little bit earlier. Keep in mind, as soon as the game's over, the stream is already created, so you can hop over there and chat. Use it as a game day chat if you'd like to. You'll see the post-game show link on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and smash that like button when you jump in there. And before you hop off here, hit like for us here real quick. And if this was your first time tuning into the PTA pregame show, if you hung around, I guess you liked it, hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. And please, please, please smash that like button as well. So you guys got anything else before we wrap up here, boys? Anything at all?
Happy Thanksgiving, gentlemen. Thankful for you guys, your friendship, bringing me into the posse. It's been a hell of a ride, and can't wait to finish out this year with you guys. So happy Thanksgiving, man.
Very well said.
Deadfish wishing us a happy Thanksgiving. Jen Wright. Anthony, I love this comment. Thankful to the PTA squad of misfits. Love that we can have a place to talk about the team we love the most. PTA always makes the day better. I don't know about better, but it makes it interesting. I'll tell you that. Same to Tim's sentiment. Absolutely thankful for you guys, especially in the chat, and obviously the broskies we got here. And shout out to Emilio, healing up. Hope that he has a great holiday as well. And yeah,
Emilio's over at the crib. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, I was faded. I ain't gonna lie, I was faded. Like,
spent the night in the ER, didn't he? He probably was faded.
Oh, he's got the good stuff. Oh, real quick, Jerry's hitting me with the super chat here. Kurt Warner just said the Bears won't win the North.
I agree with Kurt. Kurt knows what he's talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, it's just you look at all the advanced metrics and you look at how the games are playing out. It's going to catch up with them. They're winning games they shouldn't be winning, and again, you got to tip your cap to them. They're making the most of what they've got. And we had a Bear fan here last week when we did the NFC North preview, right? And he was, again, kind of like Sam, one of the better fans, right? Just a good, loves football, loves his team, and we're all about having those folks in here. But he said we wasn't expecting to compete this year, right? It was just about we got to find out is Caleb the guy. And I think many people were starting to believe he is. He's playing much better this year. I'm still a little bit like, I don't know. When you say he's the guy, are you willing to give him $50 million a year? I think he could probably do better, me personally. But I think they're trending in the right direction. But I agree with Kurt here, Jerry. I think there's just too much analytically going against the Bears for them to continue to win these games they're winning, because that schedule does get tough. Some people think they're going to lose every game from here on out. Of course, I thought they would lose to the Steelers. And what did they do? They figured out a way to win it, but they were also playing Mason Rudolph. So they got another little, yeah. But thank you for the super chat, Jerry. Thank you for that info, too. All right. Anything else, boys? We good?
All good. Let's get the dub today. Let's go,
yes,
Pack.
Sir. All right. We're out of here, guys. I'm going to get this uploaded in podcast form real quick and load everything up. And we will see you guys for the post-game show. If you guys would, please, please, please hit that like button, hit subscribe, and click the bell icon. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Everybody enjoy the game. And when you see me again here in a minute, I'm going to weigh about 8 pounds heavier probably. We'll probably already start digging into the food, I'm sure. And I may be a little heavy-eyed too. So that's the way I go. I'll look like one of those possums that got stuck in the dumpster for about a week just eating trash. You know what I'm saying?
Just living life.
Oh, yeah. That'll be me. So, again, thanks everybody tuning in. We'll see y'all for the post-game show. Give them the weird wave, Jacob.
Bye.
Here we go.
Nice.
Bye, guys.